Warp Beast is an agility carry hero who can be pretty weak early but completely monstrous late game. He's quite proficient at ganking, but can be equally as effective at disengaging. Temporal Jump is a point target ability with 3 charges. When used, Warp Beast will jump up to 600 range away. Over a 0.6 second period, he'll attack targets within a 350 radius. This will proc his passive and any items he may possess. Latch is a single target ability that will blink you to a unit or building, therefore attaching you to their backside for 2 seconds. During this time, you gain 120 bonus attack speed. One caveat is you're not able to use any items or abilities while latched to a target. Mana Eater is a passive ability which will drain up to 36 mana from a target when attacked. Keep in mind that I said drain and not burn. In addition, if Warp Beast deals the killing blow to an enemy, he will consume mana equal to 20% of that unit's maximum mana. And lastly, if Warp Beast is at full mana, this will allow you to collect excess mana with a limit of 500. Warp is Warp Beast's ultimate and it's a toggleable ability. When toggled, whenever you attempt to cast a spell or use an item beyond its cast range, you will teleport to a random position within range of that ability. This will spend 2.5 mana per unit distance and will be very quick with a 0.2 second cast time. Let's go over his talents and then we can wrap up with some basic gameplay tips. For talents at level 10, there's a choice between 8 strength or 20 damage. At level 15, it's plus 40 latch attack speed bonus, or 15% lifesteal. At level 20, it's plus 200 temporal jump wave radius, or plus 24 mana eater drain amount. And at level 25 is a choice between 1.5 second silence on warp, or 1000 mana. If I had to make a comparison for this hero, I'd say he's got a little bit of anti-mage in him. Laning stage can be rough, but items will help snowball you to the next level. But he's also got great ganking potential similar to Slark. While his proficiency at disengaging is important, he's still quite a squishy hero. Temporal Jump is your main farming ability. This bad boy doesn't really show its true form until you've gotten a Maelstrom or Battle Fury, but once you do, your ability to farm will go through the roof. Keep in mind that you have 3 charges of this, and they replenish every 6 seconds. Later in the game, this skill will be amazing for creating havoc in fights, and if you choose to get the plus 200 radius talent at level 20, it takes the impact of this ability to the next level. Latch is an important ability as it's your main killing source, at least for individual targets. Later in the game it can be very good for pushing towers too, but please do remember that you won't be able to use other skills or items while latched. And while it can be difficult to target Warp Beast while he's latched, he's still very fragile, especially if you're up against a Blade Mail carrier. Mana Eater is your most important skill. Without it, you won't be able to use your very spammable abilities very often. Getting the killing blow, even on range creeps, will help replenish you to respectable levels. Similar to Anti-Mage, this is great to use on heroes during the laning stage, to make sure that they feel that certain level of tilt. But of course, as I've mentioned, you still are pretty easy to kill early on, so you have to play with some caution. During the mid to late game, it can be important to store up excess mana in order to take full advantage of your ultimate. Warp is really what brings this hero together. On paper, a very, very broken ability. Essentially, it lets you use your abilities over a ridiculous range. But of course, the negative that comes with it is that it will use an extreme amount of your mana, which you generally don't have a ton of because you're an agility hero who wants to buy carry type items. Of course, this is where your passive does come in. It'll allow you to keep enough mana in store to go in and out as you please. Keeping track of your temporal jump charges is crucial though, because if you run out, then you won't be able to get away as easily. Not only does Latch prevent you from casting anything while attacking, but you can't use it on allies at all, which means Temporal Jump is your main disengage as well. In the late game, using items such as Bloodthorn in combination with your ult are amazing ways to get pickoffs. But of course you can technically use other items, even wards, to place yourself in enemy territory and jump away to safety. But of course this is assuming you have the mana capacity to sustain this type of play. All in all, the later the game gets, the harder it's going to be to contain Warp Beast. But your early game is pretty atrocious, so it can be a chore to get